Every style of music has its own harmonic vocabulary, the tones that give it its distinct flavor. In jazz, we often focus on the third and seventh of the chord. Those two tones define the chord quality, major versus minor, and they create the rich conversational tension that jazz harmony is built on. A jazz musician might leave out the root entirely and still communicate a harmonic story because the third and seventh speak the language of jazz. In classical music, the focus often falls on the first, the root, and the third. The harmonic structure is tertiary. It's supported through melody and voice leading. Everything moves with a sense of resolution and direction. Classical harmony tells a story through motion. In contrast, using those foundational tones to create a really elegant form. In pop and rock, like you saw in Ahmet's video, the vocabulary shifts again. We lean heavily on the first and fifth. These tones are stable and powerful. They don't color the chord with a clear major or minor identity. Instead, they leave the emotional space for the melody and lyrics to define the song, the story. That's what makes power chords so powerful. They're harmonically open but stable, and rhythmically bold. It's the difference between painting with fine detail and painting with bold strokes. All of this music theory might sound complicated, but really you can get playing a song very quickly. Check it out and subscribe. Hey everyone, thanks so much for tapping on our thumbnail. We really appreciate you being here. If you're returning to our channel, welcome back to another episode of Piano for the Vocalist. If you're new here, just a little bit about us. We're a Boston-based voice company that focuses on all genres of singing. We started releasing these videos to help singers accompany themselves outside of the studio in lesson time, and we're so glad you've joined us. Quick disclaimer, these videos aren't focused on classical piano technique. Instead, they're designed to cover the fundamentals so singers can play and sing with more confidence. Today's video comes to you by way of a question from one of our students in our Piano for the Vocalist group class. They had just finished watching Ahmet's fifth chord technique and asked, how do you know which chord tones to play? I think that's a great question, and I'm so excited to dive into that today with you. So the first thing we want to understand is, what is a chord tone? And chord tones are the notes that make up the chords that you're playing. So for instance, the root, the third, the fifth, they're the fundamental building blocks of those chords that you see in lead sheets. So, for example, if you take a C major scale, you would take different numbers in that scale, combine them to get your chord, and those individual numbers would be your chord tones. So to answer that question, the first thing we want to do is define what a chord is and what chord tones are. So a chord is just any two notes from a scale that are played together at the same time. And a chord tone are which notes those are. So if I play a C major scale, and I play two of those notes at once, I have a chord. If I define what those chord tones are, they're the first note I played, the root, and the third note I played, the third. More commonly, you'll see three notes played at once, but that's not always the case. And that's what we're going to break down today, because in Ahmet's video, he only played two, the first and the fifth. And that's still considered a chord. And we can really simplify our piano playing, especially if we're singing, if we take back the amount of notes that we're playing at one time. So here's two exercises that I found helpful in my practice that I hope can be a good tool in yours. The first is going to the circle of fifths and going around the circle and playing the different chord tones for every chord. For instance, if we start at C, you can practice playing the 1 and 3, 1 and 5, 3 and 7, all the essential chord tones in different genres. 1 and 3, 1 and 5, 3 and 7. And then once you've mastered different combinations in C, you can move around the circle of fifths to G. Same thing. 1 and 3, 3 and 5, 3 and 7. I'm using the 7th that's part of the scale. Once you complete all of the outer circle, you're going to want to go to the inner circle and master the same technique for all of the minor chords. So if we look at A minor, I'm doing the 1 in flat 3, the 1 in 5, and the 1 in flat 7. Once you feel good about doing the exercise around the circle of fifths, you can pick a song. Today I picked Autumn Leaves to show you what I mean. Because it's jazz, I'm going to use the 3 and 7 for this exercise. I'm going to play the root, or the first, in my left hand, and I'm going to play the 3 and 7 in my right hand. It sounds something like this. So for this video, I'm only going to play the 3 and 7th of the chords. And although this might seem like a simple version of it, once you're singing over it or incorporate just a few of those melody notes into it, it starts to really feel bigger than it is, feels bigger harmonically than what you're actually playing, because our mind fills in the missing notes. So hopefully this was a nice add-on video to what Ahmet already started to do in the Let It Be video where he just played the 1 and 5. This will give you a little bit more knowledge on the why, but I definitely recommend you start with that video just to start getting playing as soon as you can. And if you're interested in playing with us, comment piano for the vocalist below, and we'll send you some info on our online piano class. See you next time.